Question 14a. Given that x is an integer, a whole number, such that x is greater than -2, but less than or equal to 3, and y is also an integer such that y is greater or less than -1, but less than 5, and y equals x, write down the possible values of x. So, let's have a look at the x's first of all. So it's an integer, so it's a whole number, so it can't be decimals. X has to be greater than -2, so that gives us -1, 0, could be 1, could be 2, but it's equal to or less than 3, so it could also be 3. Now, let's have a look at the y's. Y is greater than or equal to -1, so it could be -1. It's greater than -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But y has to be less than 5, so 4 is okay, but not including 5. And y equals x. So write down the possible values of x. So it can't be 4. So the possible values of x is going to be all of these. So -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Part A is worth 2 marks, and the mark scheme says you get 1 method mark for this bit here, including this value of 4 that I crossed out. Okay, so I'll just write that back in. Value of 4 as well, so this is the first method mark, and the second mark is for the answer, which is here. Okay, so part B says, on the grid below, show by shading the region defined by the inequalities, y is greater than 1, y is greater than 2x minus 2, y is greater than 6 minus x, and x is greater than 0. And it says mark this region with the letter R. So let's start with y is greater than 1. Now, as it's not equal to 1 as well, it has to be greater than 1. You really should use a dotted line, but I remember the mark scheme says it doesn't matter. Okay, so the line y equals 1 is here. And it says you have to shade in the region defined by the inequalities. So y is greater than 1 would be everything above that line. Okay, so that's all going to be shaded in pencil. Now, I'm not going to do that on the computer because it's going to get quite confusing. So let's do another one. Y is greater than 0, sorry, x is greater than 0 is here. So x is greater than 0 is everything to the right of the line here. So as you can see, this bit has been shaded in twice. Now, a couple more then. This one here, y is greater than 2x minus 2. You can treat them like just equations of straight lines. So pretend it's y equals 2x minus 2, where 2 is the gradient and minus 2 is the y-intercept. So minus 2 here. And the gradient of 2 is like that. Okay, and I'm just going to extend that line down to here. Perfect. Okay, now y is less than 2x minus 2. So everything under the line is going to be shaded. So you can see this bit here has now been shaded 3 times, and the last one, y is less than 6 minus x. So I'm going to treat that like a straight line, choose a different colour. I'll choose brown. So the gradient is -1 and the intercept is 6. So the line's going to go this way this time. and y is less than 6 minus x. So you can shade underneath this brown line here, and you can see that you've shaded this bit here 4 times. Just this area here 4 times. Okay? So it's to the right of the green line. Y is greater than y is greater than 1, so above the pink line. And this one here is under the purple line. This one here, y is less than 6 minus x, is under the brown line. And so it gives you this region here. And the question says, mark this region with the letter R. So I'm just going to do that with another colour. I'm going to use pink. I'm going to mark this region with the letter R. And that's it for part B. Now this is worth 4 marks in total, part B. And let's have a look at what the mark scheme says. Okay, so the first mark is for any of the 2 lines apart from x is greater than 0. So any of these 2 lines drawn will give you the first mark. That's the pink, the purple, or the brown line. The second mark comes from any of these 2 lines again, with at least one of them showing the shading in or out. The third mark is once again for any of these 3 lines, with 2 showing consistent and correct shading in or out. So that's the third method mark. And the fourth one is for lines drawn and correct regions identified for either shading in or out, and the letter R is not required. Okay, so only accept without shading, only with the correct region indicated by R. Okay, so that is the 4th and final mark for this question. And that's it for question 14.